everyone. Welcome to the CCS Novice League. Today we've got a matchup between Bing Chillers, WorryBrothers, and Elysium Frost. Bringing you the action today will be myself, Lindorr, joined here once again by the one and only TDS. And TDS, we've got quite a match on our hands here tonight. Both of these teams have the same record, sitting at 4-1. Elysium Frost currently winning the tiebreaker in that they have 9 wins in their game score. So they're 1 game ahead of Bing Chillers, but whoever wins this game will lock sole possession of second place here after week number 6.
Exactly. It's an important matchup to try and define for what is left before going into playoffs. There's a really high up the ladder, the standings matchup, and I'm excited to see how it performs. I feel like we saw Bing Chillers a little bit earlier in the season, how they were able to perform. They were a really consistently good team, but Elysium Pros is also not a team to scoff at. They are in second place for a reason as of now, and they certainly are going to try and bring it onto Bing Chillers and try and get just sole possession of that second place and get it closer to optimal in that number 1 spot.
Yeah, I think we're expecting this series to go the distance. One thing we should mention, as looks like we're getting some ready checks for the draft here, but for Elysium Frost, they actually don't have their starting top laner, or at least their usual starting top laner in Boogie. Instead, it is OP Killswitch taking up residence in the top lane here for this match. We'll see how that does impact things. Obviously, not having your full roster doesn't feel too good, but I think they'll probably have practice with OP Killswitch, and hopefully they'll still be able to be performing quite well here today. And here we go into the bans for game number 1.
And perfect, they start already with the bans potentially here. Maybe with the change of top lane, we see a little bit of shying away from banning those top laners that you would be a little bit scared about going. And for Elysium as well, this may be an indication that maybe they want to try and go for a little bit more tank focus so that the rest of the map can play. Because one of the easier roles to play in a team that is not completely yet meshed up with a member, maybe because of a change or something like that, it's with the tanks. You can play that off really easily, you can try and accommodate for how your team wants to play, and even if you make a mistake, it's not easy to punish you because, as the name implies, they're tanks, so they can survive for quite long enough. But looking at these bans, focus on the jungle with the Jarvan, the Diana, and the Vi, and then throwing there a little bit of a Varus ban. I maybe expect to see a Caitlyn ban, but if not, the Rumble makes a lot of sense though. A lot of top laners have taken up that Rumble in the top lane.
Yeah, Killswitch, I think that is his most played, at least in terms of top lane champions in solo queue. But like you say, they kind of have some of these tank picks that they can play. The Shen, the Cho'Gath are 2 that come to mind. And like you say, when you're playing with a team that maybe you don't have as much practice with, some of those more forgiving picks might be something to think about. But Xayah's going to hit the ban table instead of the Caitlyn. Looks like Bing Chillers want to get themselves an early AD carry. It is going to be the Jinx locked in for some hyperscaling threat.
And it was hovering between the Jinx and the Aphelios, both with that hyper carry potential. I think the Jinx a little bit higher on the hyper carry potential because of how valuable her passive and her 6 item spike is. But Aphelios is also an option that we may end up seeing just because it does contest well with the Jinx, and you will also have a little bit more pressure on the bot lane depending on your support matchup, but the champion will always be appreciated by a lot of AD carries. It's instead going to be the Kog'Maw, and if you pick Kog'Maw more times than less, it becomes a Lulu lane. Yeah, Kog'Maw Lulu. More times than less, if you pick one, the other comes through. So, really interesting decision. Haven't seen Kog'Maw in a while, not because he's a bad champion or a bad AD carry, more so because people have fallen out of the flavor of the Kog'Maw. But I think that he's a valuable enough AD carry, you just need to have the right pieces around him.
What do you think about Kog'Maw versus Zeri? Because that's something that we've seen paired up with the Lulu a ton, as we might see the Thresh paired up with the Jinx. I don't know how many people watched the 100 Thieves games, FlyQuest games here today. They had Jinx Thresh for the 100 Thieves bot lane every single game. I won't spoil how the series went, but it is over already, so if that might give you a clue. But yeah, what do you think about Zeri instead of Kog'Maw and kind of picking that instead of the Zeri here in this situation?
So I like the Kog'Maw more if you're trying to go against a composition that has a lot of heavy champions, heavy meaning tanks, building health, or champions that even though they do survive quite well, they don't have a lot of ways to get on top of you. I think Kog'Maw excels in that because it's not easy to get on top of the Kog'Maw and kill him quickly. And that's kind of the main difference and why I see people favoring more the Zeri. Obviously, Zeri is really strong, don't get me wrong, like, she can carry the living hell out of fights, but her value to be able to consistently and constantly outpace and outplay other champions as an AD carry is so high. I think that even compared to an AD carry that has a lot of mobility like Lucian or Bane, Seri is even higher up in the tier of mobility with AD carries because you can consistently proc your ultimate, consistently move around, and it's really hard to be able to lock her down. That's why Bike, in a way, was the reason why she was able to come up so high in the meta, because she has a point and click ultimate, so locking down the Seri was really, really easy. But Seri makes it so that AD carries can have that agency and not have to depend on other people for that. Kog'Maw is the complete opposite. You depend so much on other people because you have no mobility at all. Like, you have tons of damage, but you have zero mobility. So it's kind of the takeaway and why I think people value the Seri a little bit more than the Kog'Maw.
A little bit more self-sustaining, not as much reliance on something like the Lulu to keep you up and healthy in those fights. Both junglers have been locked in now on either side as we move through the second phase of bans here. It's going to be Viego for the Bing Chillers, and on the other side, Maokai, I expect this to go into the hands of Chihuahua for Frost. So they've got some, point-and-click CC for this Jinx with the Maokai. The Lulu could, of course, use that ultimate aggressively there as well, but both compositions starting to come together, and tons of bans levied towards the top side here. We're not going to get plenty of carries. Fiora, Gangplank, and the Gwen all taken away, as well as kind of one of those weak side kings in the Shen, something that I think pairs well with both of these scaling AD carries.
I particularly think the Shen, once again, talking about the Kog'Maw, is a really good pick to ban away, because with that huge amount of shielding that you may get with the Lulu, with the Stand United, and then you have to take into account if it's Shield Bow build, if it's Bloodthirster, that both of them have become super popular. The shield to try and kill that Kog'Maw becomes really, really big, and it's kind of hard to go against it. So I understand the bans. Looking at it, it ended up being a tank like we were talking about, not hard to pull off, not difficult to play around with the rest of the team. You already have a good front line to allow for this Kog'Maw to survive by himself. And I'm thinking, honestly, this is looking like an Orianna angle for Elysium. With the last peak potential, you're lacking magical damage to a certain degree, and the Orianna is a really good scaler to follow up, not only in damage, but also in protection for this Kog'Maw. The Yone, though, on the other side too, aggressively try and kill that Kog'Maw is going to be exciting to see.
Yeah, some extra dive for the Bing Chillers. They're kind of straying away from a Protect the Jinx composition and just going to try and dive forward with the Viego, with the Yone, a little bit with the Thresh as well. Matt G might get his hands on the signature Victor here, which means that Yone will be going into the top side against this Scion. UBC Souter feeling confident in his Yone gameplay here. One more pick to come through for Frost. They need a mid laner. Orianna, like you mentioned, kind of one of those picks that we're so used to seeing around these like Raise the Puppy compositions with the Kog'Maw and different hyperscales like that. Maybe they go that route. Maybe they want a little bit more damage with something like the Syndra or something along those lines. But I think the Orianna definitely can round this composition out quite well.
And Orianna against the Victor wouldn't have been bad because of the matchup. Matchup-wise, I think Orianna does a really good job against the Victor. The Veigar here, though, it's not the protect the Kog'Maw in the same way like the Orianna is with the shield, but it also works like a protected Kog'Maw thanks to the event horizon. If you position it accordingly or aggressively away from the Kog'Maw, then it is really hard to be able to try and lock down both the Kog'Maw and the Veigar. You have huge amounts of HP thanks to of AP thanks to the consistent scaling from the Veigar, and then even though there's a lot of damage on the side of Bing Chillers, there's no true tank. So whoever goes in, goes too far deep, gets hit by the event horizon, one random Q, one random W, can get exploded by the ultimate from the Veigar. So you have to be extra careful about how you approach those fights. And even though I do like the idea of Bing Chillers to try and just go in, explode the Kog'Maw, and then you win the ensuing fight, front to back wise for Elysium is such an easier to execute comp compared to Bing Chillers.
Yeah, I have to agree. They've got steady frontline, so much zone control like you're talking about, right? With the Viego event, or sorry, the Veigar event horizon, even the Maokai ult, Scion can kind of stand forward and protect certain zones of area and keep that Kog'Maw safe. Because I mean, Bing Chillers, they want to dive. They want the Viego, they want the Yone to get onto the backline, get some resets going, maybe take the Kog'Maw onto their side, right? Have Banger turn into that and then take over the fights. But it's going to be hard to find angles because there's so much protection for this Kog'Maw. There's so many answers and so much that Elysium Frost can control. So I think that if they can keep this game close to even and close to parity, they are going to be looking really good as they scale through the mid game with this kind of double carry threat of the Veigar Kog'Maw.
100% agree. And even just thinking about how you approach those fights, you were mentioning that perfectly. You want to try and find the flanks on the side to be able to collapse into the Kog'Maw and be able to kill him, or the Vigor in that sense. But when you have double tank compositions like the Sion Maokai, you can
Yep.
position one aggressively, particularly Sion because of how much health he gets. You can
Yeah.
position him aggressively to try and cover the other like 3 or 4 remaining members on the side, and then you have the Maokai a little bit closer to your carries, but also
Right.
covering the other entrance. So you can protect the Kog'Maw from both sides without really having to commit that much. Because the
Mhm.
Sion, particularly, I think Maokai. If I was to say other champions that could do this, probably Sion, Ornn,
Yeah.
Cho'Gath, and Malphite would be
Yeah.
the champions that I see being able to do this. Mundo as well, because they have so
Sure.
much health that they can survive that sort of
Mhm.
engage. So I feel like for this comp, having this particular tank lineup for these parries can be really, really good to stop the potential attack from the Yoni and the Viego on the sides.
And that might mean that killing that front line just becomes all the more important for Bing Chillers.
Yep.
Instead of going for a dive, maybe they wait for the Scion to overextend a little bit. They've got a lot of, health shred on this team with the Yone, the Viego, the Jinx, Kraken Slayer, things like that coming through. And I think if they have a lead, it becomes a lot easier for them because they can almost take
100%.
these fights front to back. If they get a reset on the Viego, well, guess what? Now you have the Scion on your side. Now you do have a
Yeah.
tank to play in front of this Jinx. So for them, accelerating their lead in the early game, I think, becomes so important. And maybe even specifically around this Yone in the top side for Souter. How do you think this top lane matchup goes? And do you think that Banger is going to have most of his attention towards that top side?
Well, realistically, I don't expect the Sion to be that ahead of the Yone. I really think Yone takes this matchup 100%. He
Okay.
gets the poke damage, gets consistent healing thanks to his build path, and then his inner kid. So it's really, really hard to be able to out trade them consistently. There's instances where you can really just suffer as the Yone, particularly because if you don't take enough good trades, then
Right.
one bad trade from the Yone can turn into an ultimate coming in from the Sion. And one thing that Sion has is that it doesn't really matter if he dies once or twice. As long as
Mhm.
he's getting the experience and the farm, he's really doing his job. Like, you don't expect him to win the lane, you just expect him to survive long enough. And I think
Mhm.
that that's the big, big difference that I expect to see here in this game with Elysium and with Being Chillers is, can the Yone really get a lead and play around that, or will the
Mhm.
Sion just do Sion things and survive?
Yeah, the Scion's going to scale no matter what, but Souter, if he can accelerate that lead, get himself a couple items under his belt, definitely going to be making a bigger difference
Yep.
in the fights. I think we've got a hell of a game for us here, TDS. Hopefully, it's going to continue into a hell of a series. We've got a couple minutes here as we do load onto the Rift, but game number one is coming right up. We'll see you there. And we are on to the Rift for game number 1 here in the CNL, the Classic Championship Novice League. Elysium Frost trying to hold on to their second place spot. Bing Chillers, same record as them, just 1 game win behind, looking to take that spot from them here. Game number 1 here on the Rift TDS. Just a standard 5-point from both these teams. I think they can both feel the pressure of this situation and of this series.
Exactly, they both want to try and secure the best possible finish. Particularly, you want to get those 2 top spots. It really can make a difference looking into the playoffs and how you want to try and set yourself up for success. So I'm not surprised that they are going to try and be as safe as possible in this series. Now, I also think I would have loved to see a level 1 because I'm a huge fan of level 1s, especially when you have a Thresh, but I can understand why not.
Yeah, I would have liked to see the level 1 too. I feel like this team for the Bing Chillers would like a little bit of an early game lead, especially on the top side of the map for Banger and Souter, but maybe not worth the risk, not wanting to try and throw anything away early game and then have to climb back a little bit of an uphill. Both junglers, actually, excuse me, Chihuahua actually pathing towards the top side now, so they're going to be on opposite side starts, and neither team going for a leash, so not a lot of information as to where the junglers are starting here for this game.
Not even that deep of vision when you look at the wards that were positioned, so there really is going to be a little bit hard to try and track the junglers. I will say though, I really like Chihuahua's decision for where he wants to start, because I think that you have to give extra care to the bot lane, not to the top side.
Oh my goodness, Souter wants it! Oh my goodness, that is a quick first blood. Souter level 1, getting the positive trade, gets the flash at a kill switch, and then still is able to finish off the kill. Kill switch should just be able to just burn his TP, get back to this lane, but that is going to be a nice first blood for Souter.
And really weird decision from kill switch. Not that you cannot take a level 1 fight, but there's no chance that you win that against a Jonas or Leon. You first need to get a little bit of armor and go for the long trades, the short trades I mean. Every short trade that you get is going to be more beneficial for you because you won't get knocked out, you won't get the shield from the W, things like that. This time around it was a level 1 fight and he opted into that so aggressively. Gets punished for it, and that's the sort of a start that you want to see if you're on the side of Bing Chillers.
Yeah, especially when Souter's locking in an aggressive early game pick like this Yone. Definitely feels good to get an early one under the belt. Looks like Banger actually going for a cheeky little invade here. He's not going to find anything. Chihuahua did start on that side of the map and is kind of just full clearing, so there's nothing to be had here for Banger. We'll have to return to his own jungle to pick up some extra camps, but we'll at least now know, okay, there's no camps up here. Maokai's on the bot side. Eagle and Ahop will know to be a little bit careful for the next couple minutes. Hopefully won't be the subject of any sort of crazy Maokai into their lane. Banger, though, looking at the mid lane, is going to find the Spectral Maw. Matt G did get stunned up there for a moment, but Grand Canyon's going to have to flash away.
And really weird there that Grand Canyon didn't just kept on moving forward, since for the positioning you can kind of play around it really well, and if you just walk forward they're going to be falling into turret range. But by moving into the event horizon a little bit, ends up just enabling them to be able to take the flash out of the Tiger. Even though it's not a kill, it's still a really good victory that they do get. And with Banger moving down, maybe they can set up a gank here.
Yeah, gonna play for this bot Crab. Ahop's not going to find the Flay, and Banger was a little bit far away maybe to try and collapse on that one, but he's here to protect this push. Ahop and E-Girl are going to get the shove under tower. Should be able to go for an early reset here, get some items under that Jinx. And I like what Banger's going for here, right? He goes top side, realizes, okay, Maokai's bottom side, I'll make a gank mid lane, I'll contest for the bot Crab, and I'll keep my bot lane safe as they have the wave pushing away from them.
Honestly, I really like the way that Banger has moved around here, particularly for those 2 reasons. The setup, the fact that he gives information for the Maokai, and then the fact that he also takes the Skull Grab down there. So in terms of pacing in the jungle, he's not behind the Maokai at all. Now with the Skull Grab, they are going to be kind of equal, but I really like the way that Banger has approached this early game, not really trying to look for a fight, but more so trying to enable the team to look for a fight.
Chihuahua does have a little bit of tempo advantage with his top camps respawning a little bit quicker than Banger's will, or at least more efficiently than Banger's will. But yeah, Banger doing a good job protecting his lane. Nice ward there from Souter on the top side is going to spot out Chihuahua's gank attempt, so there's not going to be anything to be had up there. And yeah, overall, it just feels like steady sailing now for the Bing Chillers. They're happy with the first blood that they got on the top side. Obviously, E-Girl and Ahop gonna continue trying to do what they can in the bot side, but they're up a couple CS, and honestly, that's really all they need. They're not going to be wanting to push this matchup too much further, I don't think.
The thing here is that the Jinx will be a scaling AD carry anyway. Even if you're going against a Kog'Maw Lulu and maybe a more traditional comp on the other side, Jinx is still a hyper carry that if you give her space and time, she can really bring the damage and bring the carry pants on when needed. So all in all, as long as this bot lane is doing the same here, I would like to see Bing Cheaters put that amount of attention on the top side and allow for their carries on the other lanes to be much more showy, much more flashy than the Jinx. Jinx just needs to farm.
Yep, definitely. Souter obviously already got that first kill, but hasn't been able to turn it into much more. Obviously, you know, it's a pretty big lead, and actually, just as I say that, he's going under tower. Kill switch isn't even level 6, and Souter's gonna snap back. Ooh,
that was close.
Didn't quite have the damage. If he had the ignite, that would have been a kill for sure, but still, the pressure from Souter continuing to mount.
It's the CS diff, it's the attempts at the kills. Yes, it's not a soul kill, but almost 20 CS of a diff for the Yone. Feels like you got a kill even though you didn't really get there. Forces the back as well, so neither the Sion, well actually Souter does have the teleport, so if he wanted to use it, probably could, but the Sion doesn't have teleport, so he's going to be missing out on some of those minions, and you can see the gold diff right now. It's 300 gold short of being 1,000 gold in favor of Souter, and then everyone else is pretty close.
Definitely the big lead is up there in the top side. Small lead for Matt in the mid lane. Small lead for Eagle as well down here on the bot side. Jungle goes the other way as, you know, Chihuahua has picked up a couple extra camps, but that's not going to be too much of a problem here for the Bing Chillers. Dragon is now on the map. It's going to be a Wind Dragon to start things out here in game number 1, and Ahop and Banger want to make a play here into the mid lane. Flash into the Spectral Maw. Unfortunately for Ahop, he does walk into the event horizon, but he's got the flash of his own. The play is in. The ultimate from Matt is down, and he will scoop up his first kill of the game. Nice coordination there out of the side of Bing Chillers.
It's not the best of executions, not because they didn't get the kill. I really like the fact that they did, but really weird that Ahop didn't just go in with the hook as soon as the flashing came in from Anger, because there's no flash on the Veigar. So if you connect that, that's an easy target for your hook. Still, at the end, you cannot also say that it's a bad execution, because they did get the kill. And they get the kill onto the Victor. We know that the passive of the Victor, or how the passive of the Victor works, so as long as you get those kills to assist, it just enables the Victor even more. And with that kill, immediately look at the Dragon. They have control, they can go for it. Who's Souter?
Yeah, Banger immediately down there in that area, but topside, Souter, yeah, has to flash away. Ultimate used there from Kill Switch, and with Chihuahua in the area, potentially within a flash W range, Souter's going to respect the kill threat that they have there. Back away, pick up the rest of the CS, and like you mentioned earlier, he still has that teleport available, so can just kind of leave here if he needs to get a reset, come back to the lane, and pick up the rest of the CS. Killswitch does have his now off cooldown again after having to burn that one very, very quickly in this game number 1, but things still going well for Souter despite that flash.
Exactly, he got killed so early on that the teleport now is back. He uses it again, so really on point with those teleports, right? Using them as much as possible, it seems, and being able to get the most out of it. Exactly. That's what you want. You want to have the uptime always at use, but now he uses it, so he doesn't have the teleport to come back after that trade. Ouch.
Yeah, that's not what you want. You TP back to lane, Souter just chunks you to half HP, and he still has the teleport if he needs to recall. So yeah, maybe shouldn't be taking some of those trades in those situations, but still will be okay. Souter's going to try and shove this one under tower and then get the reset for himself. There was a potential play into the mid lane from the side of Elysium Frost. They had their jungler and chaser here on the Lulu in the area, but Matt G playing respectfully isn't going to get caught out by any sort of shenanigans. Still scaling up on this Victor.
And Magic, with the 2 ganks that he got with the kill to boot on top of the CS diff that he has been doing a really good job to try and put pressure onto this Veigar and not allow for them to move around that freely. On the top lane, we keep seeing the trades, and I wanted to comment on this because I don't think necessarily kills it, so wait.
Vortex might be in trouble here. That's going to be the Lulu ultimate. The Wild
they have damage.
Out, yeah. The Jinx Rocket will find it. They get the flash, and they still get the kill.
Well, you don't flash in a straight line. That's something you learn with Ash Arrows, with Jinx Rockets. There's another ulti that you don't flash. Yeah, exactly. You don't flash in a straight line, and maybe here Kill Switch.
Ooh, okay. Has the flash to get away from the Unsealed Fate. Souter and Banger aren't going to have too much left in the tank here. Shouldn't be able to go much deeper. They do have Matt G on the roam. Maybe they're trying to set up a dive on this next wave. Banger's trying to hold the wave. Killswitch has some mana at his disposal, but probably not enough to defend against this. If they can execute this well, should
Can
be
he
a dead
ulti out?
Scion. Maybe.
I don't think he can.
Trying to pull the wave. He's trying to do everything he can. Bangers in, has the ultimate to get out from under the tower, and yeah, he's just gone. Matt G doesn't even get an assist on that play. And now actually, maybe a punch back in the mid lane here. Chihuahua does have the Rift Herald from earlier. Going to use that one in the mid lane.
Well, at least they do have some ways to try and bring a lot of gold into their favor. You have to look for any sort of small things that you can try and play with. I like the attempt on the gank though, or not the attempt, I like the play with the gank there, with the 3 members. Yes, you give up a little bit of the space that you have gotten pushing the Vigar, but it also means that now you put even more pressure on the Scion, you get another kill. You made it so that this Scion is really feeling the pain, and this is something that we talked about, right? It's fine if the Scion is able to survive the lane, even if he dies once or twice, as long as he's able to farm and keep the experience in a good way. But farming is already out of the question. He's almost 40 CS down onto the Yone. So to start it off, the amount of pressure that he's getting and the fact that he's not really gaining anything in comparison and the rest of the team is not gaining that much in comparison is really bad for Elysium. And I really think that it's thanks to a lot of the good movements that we've been seeing from being chillers, but also so they're just having so much pressure onto the Scion.
Yeah, I mean, it all started with that level 1 first blood,
Yeah.
and Killswitch got a bit on the back foot all the rest of the game, and yeah, getting abused there again. Banger and Matt G able to take advantage of a couple of those cooldowns being down, and like you say, if he's able to get CS, dying a couple times doesn't matter, but the deaths that he's having are really impactful. Dying in that last one, losing most of that wave under tower, not going to be feeling too good, and I mean, he's down a level already, he's down a bunch of CS, and now bot side, Ahop, yeah, they flashed the flay, but he's still got the death sentence available, and that is going to be Chaser's sentence to death. Vortex is here, Chihuahua as well, trying to find something on the other side of the fight, but I don't think there's anything to be had. They do root up the Jinx. E-Girl is kind of left on their own here, but has the flash and be able to get away. They're going to grab that kill.
They did blow both flashes on both Banger and Eager to be able to run away. Still not the Jinx dying, which is magic.
Oh, flash hook. We got action on all fronts. Vortex is going to get hooked up, but Ahop's got to be careful here. E-Girl's not able to step forward, and Banger's not in the area, but now he is coming in with the Spectral Maw.
It's so close.
Nice scramble smash from Chihuahua. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Matt G got taken down to about 2 HP, as far as I'm concerned. Grand Canyon not quite having the damage to finish him off, but giving it a good effort.
Wait, just one quick thing. It's the new Maokai build. I thought it was going to be tank Maokai. It's
what is this?
It's the Moonstone Maokai. So it's been talked about. I've seen posts and talk about Moonstone Maokai. If I'm not wrong, it was Tarzan that actually debuted it in pro play. So interesting the approach that they are opting here. I thought it was going to be just traditional tank Maokai, but it's kind of the same reasoning as how other champions proc the Moonstone. You use Mapes, you use your you being close to other champions with the Guardian as well to be able to keep on procting it, and you can proc it in fights for quite a bit. Really interesting seeing it here, though. I wasn't expecting it to come through.
Is it just the Guardian that's procking it on your allies then? Like,
I think you can proc it with almost anything, but the Guardian is one of the easier ways to proc it.
Right. Just like Maokai doesn't have any other way to shield anyone.
It's going to be interesting seeing how it works. Like, I haven't actually seen it, but I just saw that it was getting popularized.
Oh, I'm just trolling. Okay, you do have to just hit them with attacks or abilities to get the passive. Okay, that's good. I think that's spicy, yeah. I mean, it makes sense with this Kog'Maw comp, right? Like, protect the Kog'Maw.
It's a way to protect it, yeah.
Yeah, you're going to have double Moonstone, potentially, if Chaser goes for that as well. You talked about some of the shielding that he's going to be getting out of the Lulu, out of potentially Bloodthirster. I don't know if he went overheal, but he already has some lifesteal under his belt with this Blade of the Ruined King as well. So yeah, definitely Chihuahua playing for the team, playing for the scaling team fighting that they're going to expect later on in this game. It is... The gold lead is starting to grow. It's almost 4,000 gold. They're going to have to be careful that they don't let this build a lot bigger. But at this point, they still have hope for these team fights.
I also think they did get one of the dragons. Ooh, E-Girl. You're dead.
Okay, goodbye.
You don't take 1v1s against a Kog'Maw, even if you're ahead. You don't take those 1v1s. He did finish the Blade of the Ruined King, so already starting to stack up on that damage that you really want to see on the Kog'Maw. And I was going to mention, the side of Elysium did get one dragon, which means that the potential early Elder, early Soul, is not really going to be an actual fact for you or an actual matter. Oh, teleport down there.
Outside. Souders ready to go. He's got the ultimate. He's going to use the E already, looking for the Fate Seal. He finds it just
really
barely.
nice.
The tip lands onto Vortex, but the Wild Growth will provide enough HP to keep him alive. Now we've got to fight over the Rift Herald. Banger's going to use the ultimate to immune the charge. But Matt is just locked in place in the middle of 3. He's going to find his screen gray. Banger does get 1. Looking for the resets. Turns into the Maokai, but that will not be enough. Who got the Rift Herald, though? I'm actually not sure. It must have been Banger, because Killswitch isn't going to pick up the eye, but that means the objective kind of just goes to the wayside.
Pretty sure he did, so yeah.
Egro can get it. Okay. Herald secured.
But they did get the Herald. Yeah, the smite difference does matter there for Banger to be able to secure the Herald. I actually was worried because with the rocket, the Super Mega Death Rocket, I thought there was going to be an opportunity for maybe Banger getting another reset onto Grand Canyon, and then you lose at 5. Still, they do kill Magi in a really nice play. They don't let Vortex die on the bot lane, which is another really important thing for the side of Elysium. And even though they lost the Herald, it's already past played, so it's not like you're going to lose a huge amount of gold here.
Yeah, there's not really a tower that's super low other than this one in the bot side. Might be worth a little bit putting that Herald down there, but we'll have to see what sort of value that the Bing Chillers are able to get out of that one. I think if Banger gets that reset that you're talking about and is able to clean up the rest of the fight, it's almost just GG from there. Like, that just feels so huge as the Viego, getting resets in, like, what basically was a 1v3 at that point. But luckily for Elysium Frost, they're able to kill him and stop that snowballing from going over. Dragon spawning in 1:30. Do you expect both of these teams to want to fight over that?
It's going to be Hextexel from the lack of another icon when the dragon already, the Ocean Dragon is already down. I'm pretty guessing it's going to be the Hextexel. That is a huge soul, by the way. Like, that is not game winning maybe, but that is a really big soul to try and get for any of these comps. Like, both of them would love to have it because they have a lot of auto attackers that will feel great to have that soul on their side. So I expect to see a bit of fighting from both teams to try and secure this soul. Maybe not right now, just because there's carries that you want to have at least 2 items on. Maybe they kill Machi.
You gotta be careful, man. Here comes the ultimate from Chihuahua. He's gonna get rooted in place. He does have flash available, but he's gonna have to get out of here. Exhaust is down. Bramble smashed back in. Now he's in the middle of the baby cage. Really good flash, though. Gets him out of trouble, gets him under tower. Grand Canyon wants to chase. He's got the R, he's got the flash. He'll close the gap and finish him off.
And honestly, that was really well played by Matt G. He waited until the Maokai CC was down so that he could flash out of the way. Ooh, that was really close from Banger.
Herald is going to be spawned up. Banger looking for the flash play on it to the enemy Cogma, but not quite going to find it. But now here comes Killswitch. It's going to be Ahop flashing in front, keeping his AD carry safe from that Scion. Banger just ults onto Vortex, and he's going to find the resets. Now he's the fed Cogma. Well, maybe not fed, but the strong Cogma. But Canyon is here, and guess what? You go pop if you're going to be taking any damage from this Veigar. E-Girl desperately trying to fight this one out. A couple more autos into Chaser will do it, but the Wild Growth will keep him alive, and now E-Girl has to flash over the wall, leave his support to die. Cannot repay him for saving his life earlier, but now Souter joins the fray. This fight lasting so long. Can the Yone make the difference? Blinking health bars. Matt stepping forward. He's going to finish off the Scion. And now here comes the zombie. Here comes Grand Canyon. They're trying to step forward, but Souter says, this is my fight to win. He's got the Q3. He's got the knockup. He's got E-Girl trying to auto away, but he's dead. The shutdown onto the Veigar. But now the carries from Bing Chiller step forward. They trade 1 for 1. The Comet comes down. Here comes another one. Matt better be careful, but Grand Canyon, only 200 HP to his name. Can he try and finish this one off? He has the ult again, but Matt will finish the job. What a fight there. Chaos on the Rift.
And you could say it was Yakety Sax kind of moment there with everyone coming back, fighting, dying, and coming back and wanting to fight again.
Yeah.
It was really close though. A little misstep here and there, and that fight is completely on its head in favor of Elysium. It ends up going better for the side of Bing Chillers because not only do they win the fight, they get a couple of kills that are really important, but they are also getting this dragon for free. So they, in the overall aspect of the game, tempo of the game, the way that the game goes, it's still beneficial for Bing Chillers. But the difference is shown that it doesn't really matter that much right now. The 4k gold in favor of Bing Chillers is not that big just yet. Cogmo and Veigar are dealing a lot of damage.
Yeah. Grand Canyon is definitely putting in work. Already has 200 stacks on that phenomenally evil power, looking to get so much free AP. I mean, that's a lot already. 20 minutes in, 200 stacks, scaling that one up. And yeah, this Kog'Maw, like you say, only on one item, but has been putting in work in these fights. Did unfortunately get ulted by Banger in that last turn of events, and Banger was able to finish him off, but this Kog'Maw is only going to be getting stronger. Looking for that Gwynsu's as a second item. Only 14 stacks left on the Cull here as well. But on the other side, E-Girl narrowly getting close to finishing off that Infinity Edge. There's 2 items on this Victor as well, with the Cosmic Drive coming in second for Matt G. And so it feels like they're just a little bit ahead in terms of important power spikes on the side of Big Chillers.
I'm so glad E-Girl went for the IE instead of opting for the Rapid Fire or Phantom Dancer. Feels like almost every AD carry that Ghost Jinx does that, but the difference in damage when you have that IE can actually matter. Ooh, Souther?
Souther doesn't want to be here.
Oh, he's fine.
He's alright. He'll escape.
Hexgate value.
The great Houdini Souther there. Q over the wall. Finds the exit. And now we're going to hit a little bit of a mid-game lull here. 4,000 gold still is the lead for the side of the WorryBrothers here. Big Chillers trying to continue snowballing this, but so far the response from the Elysium has been well. Yeah, Souther's going back for more. He's got Banger in his back pocket, and this is going to be the collapse they need. They're right onto the Maokai. There's not a lot of tank stats here for Chihuahua, and he's just going to get absolutely blown up. Now Banger's going to take control of the body of the tree. They're looking to make a play here onto Kill Switch as well. Chaser and Vortex are on the way. Some low health bars for Souther and Banger, but now they're getting resets. They're going to continue getting resets. They've got E-Girl on the way. Banger gets a third one. There's still the Scion passive going crazy, but it's not going to find it, and it's going to be Vortex going down to Ahop's got the Lantern to get Banger to safety, and that is 4 in the Death Chamber TDS. This is going to be an early Baron for the side of the Big Chiller WorryBrothers.
It's 4 perfectly good kills. It seems like they are thinking it twice at taking this Baron, which I do respect. You have to take into account that Chihuahua did die at the very start of that fight. So that means that he's already out of the to try and go contest that Baron buff. The Hex Gates exist, so it's easier for the Maokai to try and get towards that Baron buff. So I respect the fact that they don't overcommit for it. They already won the fight, and that's the most important part. But I think that in that fight you can clearly see the difference between this sort of Maokai build and a tank Maokai build. This Maokai build is really good for supporting. Wait a second, yeah, Machi.
You're on a ward, my friend. You are spotted out. Yeah, you might flash, but guess what? You can't flash away from the primordial burst. That's going to be big shutdown gold into the pockets of this Vhagar. But yeah, TDS, I was actually about to bring that up, because Chihuahua going for this build means that OP Kill Switch on this Scion is kind of their only frontliner. Yeah. And he's been put behind this game, right? He only has an item and a half, so the frontline that we were expecting to be so beefy on the side of Elysium Frost is not as much so. So they need to find value out of these healing items from Chihuahua, and him dying first in the fights is not how he does that.
Exactly. The difference here is always going to be how many members are going to be close by to you that you can keep healing, meanwhile they deal damage. And those members are going to be Grand Canyon and Vortex. When it's a fight, when it's just Kill Switch and Chihuahua on the Scion and Maokai respectively, there's not going to be that much damage. Maybe you can kill Scion a little bit healthier for a while, but as we saw in that previous fight, as soon as it's Banger and Souther, they don't really care about your healing because they explode you, and then they move on to the Scion. There's no more healing anymore anyway, so they can kill him as well. You need to be able to use that build when you're as a unit together and able to fight, able to proc the passive of the Moonstone as much as possible. In that instance, it was not going to work out that well, and I really like that Big Chillers took so much advantage out of that.
That's a lot of damage. Hops half HP. Oh, but he's going to find the hook here. Maybe they can go for it. Grand Canyon has the Zonias. They've got a TP coming in as well. This could be the Death Ball. Vortex is standing in the middle of 4 members. They've got the Maokai ultimate to buy some time. Grand Canyon stepping forward. Eargirl, yeah, kind of caught out with the rest of the team behind, but flashing to safety. Kill Switch is on the chase. He's trying to juke out from a lot of these cooldowns, but it's not going to be enough. The ultimate is just going to finish him off, but now Banger, he's looking for resets. They found one, but Victor's dead. Both the carries from the Big Chillers have hit the deck, but guess what? They've still got Souther, and he's going to take a bite out of Grand Canyon, who goes on down. Chaser flashes to safely. OP Kill Switch is still alive. It's a 3-for-3 on either side, but Banger No, not going to look for the chase down there. Instead, going to retreat. There is a dragon on the map.
And after everything, it's going to be another dragon for the side of Bing Chillers. What a messy fight, a really chaotic fight, but the most crucial point of that fight, or actually you can define it in 2 moments, really. E-Girl dying, and then Banger getting the reset timing. He actually just, by a really little margin, is able to get the reset onto the Maokai. With that, he's able to keep himself being part of the fight consistently. That makes it impossible for the side of Elysium to be able to win. But it was really, really close. Like, we still are seeing how much Vortex and Canyon can really do in that fight. It's just that as long as Banger and Sauter exist, they will have a really, really hard time being able to pull it off.
Yep, I mean, we talked about in Champion Select how this composition from the WorryBrothers gets so much easier if they have a lead on Sauter, if they have a lead on Banger, and these divers are able to go into the fight and find those resets and find those kills. But you're right, like, that fight is much closer than some of the more scattered fights that we've seen, right? They were all grouped up around Vortex, they had Chaser on top of him ready to provide some peel, they had OP kill switch going in with the ultimate onto the Jinx. And it really feels like, even though there's a 7k gold lead, these fights are exceptionally close. Sauter now has to be a bit careful, getting collapsed on by both of the solo laners here up Elysium Frost. He's going to casually sidestep a lot of their CC though, but I don't know if that's going to be enough. Still having to try and fight his way out, just hits the ultimate button from Grand Canyon. That's the gameplay button, and Sauter goes down. But with this investment on the bot side, they're just going to be able to take the Baron on the other way.
You have the teleport on Grand Canyon. They're able to rush it down though. Really quick decision making.
See if they want to look for the fight here on the side of Elysium Frost. They do have 5 versus 4 when they can get OP kill switch into the fight. But as they look to kite this one out, and the rest of them are doing so much damage. Banger's in. They need to find someone. They need to find the resets on the side of Bing Chillers, and now E-Girl's found his moment. He steps forward, he peppers them with the rockets, and the kills go to Matt G. This will be a 3rd, Chaser the 4th, and while OP kill switch is still alive, the rest of his team cannot say the same. Baron goes over, and the Bing Chillers win the fight.
And at the risk of it being a bad pun, Banger is having a banger of a game. He's playing out of his mind so far, doing so much. 10-2 and 4. He's doing so well this game. He's really the carry jungler that everyone wants to have in solo queue, but nobody gets.
This is the Viego you see on the enemy team every game, as soon as it's locked in. Definitely not the Veigar, or sorry, the Viego you ever get on your team. But yeah, it feels like for the side of Bing Chillers WorryBrothers, like, they're very close to finishing this game off. They're being patient, maybe buying some time for this Ocean Dragon, but one more fight, and they should just be able to walk it in and finish off the Nexus.
Well, it could be a force in the way that they try and play it so that they commit for the last dragon. They force the enemy team to commit to a fight for the last dragon. They win the fight, and they try and end the game in that push. Because as of now, even though they do have the Baron, and they are really, really strong, they still have to be careful because the engage potential with Maokai Ultimate with Event Horizon is still risky to go against Chihuahua.
They're just going to look for a pick. Oh my gosh, I'm not used to seeing Maokai melt so fast, but he just doesn't have any resistances to work with. And Sauter with 2 items, just going to absolutely shred through his health bar. Now 4 versus 5 on the map. There's no value out of this Maokai and out of this healing build that he wants to be giving so much power, so much sustain to Vortex. Baron is still on the members of
Banger.
the Big Killers, and Banger, he's just gonna keep on going forward. The pain train doesn't stop. Grand Canyon does manage to find a way out. Now Matt G has to try and do the same on the other side. Good gravity well will provide some peel, but E-Girl, okay, she's gonna take the 1v1. Grand Canyon goes pop, and now it's another 4v5. Yeah, okay, Chihuahua just spawned, but your mid laner's dead. And it seems like maybe Big Chillers will be able to finish this one off right now. Sauter's going to find a knockup, but nothing more. Both inhibitors will fall in the base. And it's going to have to be a miracle fight here from the side of Elysium Frost.
It really has to be. They still need 30 seconds before Grand Canyon is back. That means that it's a 4v5. You have to win. Oh, no,
and the hook's on the Kog'Maw. Now there's no chance. A-Hop will secure the victory for the team. They've got the resets. They've got the Jinx rockets going crazy. They'll finish off the zombie passive, and they will finish off the Nexus. It's a 30-minute game, but it's a victory for Bing Chillers. 27-13 over a 10,000 gold lead here in this game, and they will take the game 1 victory.
The ease of execution was on the side of Elysium, but the execution, the actual execution, was on the side of Pink Chillers. They played that out really, really, really well. It started off with Solder getting that solo kill at level 1 in the top lane. But it really didn't end just with that, because once again, I want to give so much credit to Banger. He played the game out in the jungle so well. His early pathing to detect where the Maokai was going. Yes, he kind of messed up his own jungling, but at the same time, he detected the Maokai, got a flash, and then moved out to still be able to keep himself in the game. Doing an amazing job from start to finish. I think Banger just, again, bad pun, but had a banger of a game. He did so many things so well and allowed for the team to be ahead and win the game.
I think all of Bing Chillers had a bit of a banger there in that one. E-Girl 5-3 and 11, Souter, 4-2 and 8 after dominating the top lane matchup, had almost double OP kill switches damage in this game. Okay, not quite, but close. And I mean, yeah, just all in all, a fantastic game from them. I do think that Elysium Frost, like, the composition wasn't the problem, right? You talked about how they have the ease of execution. It just felt like they fell a bit too far behind, specifically on the top side of the map. And when these two divers, Souter and Banger, are ahead, and you don't really have much of a front line because your Scion's put behind and your Maokai is going for a supportive build, they just kind of cut through the health bars like the butter.
Well, we saw the fights, right? There was that one fight in the mid lane, I think before the third dragon, where it was really, really close. It was an actually really close fight. The Kog'Maw was able to out-attack, but Banger survived in a place where it was looking like he was going to die, and then also Solar was able to kill people. If by just that next range to kill that Viego before he even gets one raised, that fight looks completely different, and the game is on its head at that point. So it really is the difference between having the damage to kill those carries or them not having the damage to kill you and being able to win the game.
Yep, I felt like that happened time and time again for Banger. He's getting so low, but then they get the kill, they get the reset, and then
one reset
take over the fight. And it really was just the difference of that early gold lead making all the difference here in this game number 1. I'm sure both the teams are eager to get onto the Rift for game number 2, so we'll take a short break, get everything set up for that one, and we'll see if Bing Chillers can get the 2-0 here, or if Elysium Frost can bring us back, see if we can go all the way to game number 3. We are back, and we are jumping right into draft for game number 2 here. Elysium Frost going on to the blue side for game 2. That means Bing Chillers will be taking up residence on the red side of the Rift. How is this going to shake things up? What do you expect from Elysium here, given that, they're back onto the blue side, or sorry, they're switching up, going onto the blue side TDS. Do you think it's going to be more of the same, more scaling, more protect the Kog'Maw, or maybe they have something different to show us?
Well, if you opt into the blue side, it's because you want to try and first pick something really, really good. In the previous game, we saw the Jinx, not necessarily the highest or best first pick that you can go for, but it can be a priority for the team particularly. Saya was banned the previous game as well by Elysium, so it could be a situation where they want to open the Saya, they take the pick, and then they go against whatever like Pink Chillers wants to go with that. One thing though that you are giving up when you pick blue side, obviously, it's the counter pick potential. And as we've seen, I feel like Pink Chillers want to give the counter pick to Souther. So this may enable Pink Chillers to a certain degree as well if they get a really good counter pick in top lane.
Yeah, Souter got to counterpick last game. Elysium were opting to give the counterpick to their mid laner instead, and unfortunately for them, Souter punished them pretty heavily in that game number 1, taking full advantage of the counter matchup into the Scion. Bans relatively similar here so far. Elysium are going to choose to take off the Thresh instead of Jarvan, since they're on the blue side. And so Big Chillers, they're like, okay, fine, we'll ban the Jarvan. We don't want you to get that. And okay, they're actually going to ban the Xayah on blue side. That's surprising.
Yeah, now it's Jinx banned on the red side, so the champion open is the Varus, if I'm not wrong. Could be Elysium taking it here, but I kind of feel like if you're not going to go for the Saya here, it just kind of messes up the idea of trying to go for blue side because it's more of a red side ban than a blue side. But maybe Elysium has a plan here. I'm not sure which, if it's not AD carry, which champion do you want to focus here? Seems like it's going to be the Varus then.
Okay. That is kind of a takeaway from Bing Chillers. Egirl does like the Varus as well, and Vortex has been playing it quite a bit. Bing Chillers going to insta-lock Tristana Nautilus. If that's going into the bot lane, that's some aggression if I've ever seen some.
Well, I always go with Tristana the same way that I would go with Kai'Sa or Samira. If you're going to play either of those AD carries, you play for your level 2 power spike, which is go in at level 2 and you try to blow everything up onto the AD carry or the support. If it works, you win the lane. If it doesn't, you don't lose the lane necessarily, but it does make it a little bit of like harder compared to other AD carries. But that's the right mindset to have. Immediately answered though with Zac and Braum. I really like the Braum here. Trying to protect the Varus, it's a really good idea to have that Braum. And then the Zac can work really well as an engage, but also can be a really good way to try and dissuade certain attempts thanks to just how the champion works sometimes. So I'm not against this champion at all. I really like it.
Pretty good response from Elysium, but Bing Chillers with a response of their own. Grabbing the Kindred up into the Zac. You talked about how it's good engage and good dive. Well, Kindred is some pretty good anti-dive, especially when you have a double AD carry threat like they do here. So junglers and bot lanes locked in again in the first phase of picks. And not surprised at all to see the Veigar hitting the ban table for the Bing Chillers.
It's a really, really strong champion right now. The event horizon value, the extra range that he gets, he can really mess up a lot of champions, so I respect the ban here. I'm expecting to see a little bit of focus towards top lane as well. Maybe Yone ban to try and respect Souther from the previous game. Could be the case. Not necessarily expecting it, but could be fun to see. I'm also thinking if Pink Chillers is going to try and play without a tank again. Like, yes, Nautilus is kind of a tank. Even though he's a support, he's kind of a tank. But you don't have anyone to frontline once again. And trying to play the game the same way that you did in the previous one, where kind of everything worked out your way, it's not the safest option. So I would like them to try and get a tank of some sort, or at least a survivable kind of champion. Someone that can at least check a push without dying.
Galio. That's what I want.
Galio, okay.
I think Galio goes really good with the Nautilus, with the Kindred.
With Kindred, I'm not against it,
Yeah, it opens up options for Souter to then play the carry instead of having to get the tank from your top side. We'll see if Matt G wants to go for it. He has been more the control mage. Oh, he's going to give me it. Come on, lock it in. Come on, Matt. You know you want to.
Are you the new color caster now, Lindorr?
Let's go. Hey, I'm 100% on my draft predictions. What can I say?
Yeah. True. Can't argue with the superior analysis. I'm not against it. And the Galio here works well. I'm not against it. Yeah. Like you're pointing out, I think particularly more so because it gives the opening for Souther to go for that carry champion, which worked out really, really well in the previous game. The Sylas here, not a bad option. You have good ultimates to steal. Even like the Galio and the Kindred have so much value for your team. And then the Nautilus is surprisingly a lot of damage when you pair it up with Sylas. And here the Wukong, so we see the Sact or a Wukong top.
Okay.
Or a Sact or a Sylas top, actually.
That's kind of nice that they have these flex options, right? That means that Souter doesn't know what he's laning into. Not 100% sure which of these kill switch would be the most proficient on. He does have a few Zac games. I'm not sure if that's top or jungle. but it's definitely going to be tough for Sauter to know exactly what he's going up against. And so,
Oh,
yeah, he's just going to pick something safe. Gangplank, still a carry,
like
still
the
can be a
GP.
late game threat, maybe less so of a laning threat, at least than the Yone that we saw last game.
You can still play really, really well. Like the Gangplank has a lot of damage value that you can try and play off in the lane. And if you know what you need to do, it just enables you can enable yourself to try and win the lane, especially against champions that probably won't try and bully you as much. If it's a sack, I don't expect to be a lot of bullying. If it's the
Yeah.
Wukong, I can see it being a little bit more contested, so you have to be careful. But in the later stage of the game, that's where we'll see this GP shining. And this gives you three super late game threats. You have the
Yeah.
Tristana 80 carry,
Yep.
Kindred 80 carry, but also jungler, and then you have the Gangplank that also scales really, really well. Meanwhile, I think Elysium does have a good comp in terms of trying to play for team packs and the like,
Mm-hmm.
but it's also not a comp that scales super, super well because their champions
Yeah.
really, when you compare it head to head to their counterparts, it's not outscaling them. Like that matchup is won by being chillers in that sense.
Yeah. So then for Elysium Frost, do they have a lane that they can successfully snowball around and kind of look to play through in terms of like early game pressure and trying to snowball that into a mid game advantage? Because I don't really see a clear one. Maybe it's the Silas that can get ahead and make a difference in that regard, but otherwise, like maybe Varus, but
I
they're
would
kind
say
of
Varus, yeah.
scaling. Yeah. Do you think maybe it's the poke Varus? Because I look at this composition and I go, this has to be attack speed Varus, but I'm not 100% sure.
So I feel like attack speed Varus gives you the opportunity to try and play for later game. But when there's no like true tank, because even though Galio can be the face checker of the team thanks to his
Right.
innate tankiness, he's not really that tanky against 80 damage threats. So
Yeah.
Poke Varus here this game may end up being really, really valuable because
Okay.
the champions are not that tanky. I think that for mid game fights, for early game fights, Poke Varus may be the best option. But if you want to try and fight them into the later stage of the game, probably attack speed Varus is what you're looking for.
Right. Yeah. So seeing the composition that they're facing, maybe getting the lethality would be a little bit better. Earlier power spikes, earlier power,
Yeah.
more mid-game prowess from that pick, and that kind of does give them maybe a lane to play around. They've got some decent gank opportunities with the Braum Varus, and then the Wukong coming in. Of course, it is going to be the Zac top for OP kill switch, but they're into the Tristan and Nautilus. Like, this is a very aggressive laning combo on the other side as
Yeah.
well, so they have to be careful, right?
They have to be extra careful. Like I was saying, it's level 2 power spike where at level 2, if you don't win that level 2 push and you get jumped on top by the Nautilus Tristana, even Braum can get bursted out because you don't typically start with your shield.
Yep.
And then after that, even if you do have the shield, if they can play it up accordingly, it's still a lot of burst potential that you may have with the Tristana and Nautilus. So you never really have a safe opportunity or a safe option in that lane. You can survive it and you can play it off well, but it's never really safe to say it like that.
I absolutely agree. The Tristana is so slippery. We saw it. I think I saw it in a series I cast last night, where it was like a Tristana mid that kept getting ganked, but it's like they just rocket jump away, and you're like, yeah, okay, great, you got my 14-second cooldown out, right? Like it's so hard to gank this Tristana, and I'm struggling to see, other than the Silas, like I'm struggling to see a way for Chihuahua to influence these lanes super heavily. Maybe some counter ganks on the bot side when Tristan and Nautilus are getting aggressive, but I don't even know if they win the 3v3 there if the Kindred is around here for Banger. So they're going to have to get creative. They're going to have to find ways into this game. I think if Chihuahua can get a lead on the Wukong, that in itself could be a way for them to kind of find a lead and find a way to get a mid-game lead and control some of the map that way.
100% agree. Chihuahua needs to have a really good early game performance because he needs to be the linchpin of damage early on. He needs to try and set up for that so that the lanes can have an easier time and also play with a gauge. You're playing with a Sag and a Wukong. You want to try and go in and get as much damage as possible. And with your knockup, with your CC, with your damage, you can also kind of play around the fact that Kindred has the ultimate. You may even blow her up before she even gets a chance of using the ultimate. That's how you need to approach it. Because if you just give them time, Kindred will outscale the living hell out of the Wukong. Like there's barely no opportunity to even go against it. And Kindred is a really good AD carry, particularly, or a really good scaling jungler AD carry because of the marks. Like if you give him give her the opportunity to get those marks, it just becomes really, really hard to go against her. So Chihuahua has to pull off a really good early game.
We'll see if they can get creative. Their backs are up against the wall here.
Yep.
They are currently in second place, but Bing Chillers with the victory here would knock them down a peg and take that second place spot for themselves. We'll see if the Bing Chillers can do exactly that and nab their 2-0, or if Elysium Frost are up to the challenge. We got a couple minutes here to load on to the Rift. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Bing Chillers are looking to secure second place in the CCS Novice League standings, and they can do so here with one more win against Elysium Frost, who currently hold that second spot in the standings. TDS, we've got a spicy, potentially spicy level 1 here. Elysium just stacking this bush, potentially expecting an invade from the other side, but Bing Chillers, they're not up to any sort of nonsense. They just got a standard 5-point going on.
They went for the response to a potential level 1, right? It's not a bad idea, but it means that you're just reacting, not really being proactive about that. I will say, though, it's a smart decision there, even though they don't get anything, because the level 1 from Pink Cheaters is not bad. The level 1 from Galio can be good. The level 1 from the Nautilus can be good. Tristana doesn't need to do much since everyone is going to collapse in and then you get free procs from your bomb. So it can be a really good start. And I think that the idea to react wasn't bad. But since nothing happened, then I don't really care.
Yep, nothing happening. Level 1. Both junglers are going to be starting topside in this game. Chihuahua is going to get a leash. Wukong, kind of one of those early clearing junglers that struggles just a little bit, so it makes sense that he wants to get a little bit of help on his first buff. Banger, on the other hand, not going to get a leash here, so going to be a little bit hidden as to where he's starting and where he's pathing towards. And both these junglers will be on the same side of the map, but both won't necessarily know that.
Feels like maybe it's so that not only Banger gets a free start, but also because of this. You get a really good early start for Souter like that.
We saw it last game. The level 1 from Souter can be punishing the Gangplank. Kind of one of those champions that can really put the pressure down in those early levels.
Yep.
That Q being on such a low cooldown, the passive, the Trial by Fire, increasing the damage so heavily. And we're about to hit that level 2 tower power spike in the bot side that you were talking about, TDS. We'll see if Ahop and Negro can go aggressive, but seems like Vortex and Chaser, they respect it. They're going to back away, and nothing going to come from the bot side just yet.
At least we could say that this is already a much better start for Elysium, since no level 1 death on the top lane. So
it's
already
30 seconds and no one's died. Yay!
Exactly. We already can go forward and just say better start to the game. Now both junglers, both of them are going to cross each other here, especially because Banger is actually going inside of the enemy jungle. Is he going to try and steal the red buff?
He might be. He's got a little bit of pressure in the bot side here. They're trying to get this wave under. He's going to be in the bush for the moment. Has not been spotted out just
Who doesn't know?
Okay, Chihuahua now is going to walk into the bush. Banger's going to go forward. Clone from Chihuahua to find some safety. Red buff is still aggroed. Silas might be the first to the roam, and here comes the bot lane actually from Elysium Frost as well. As topside we get some trading, but this is not what we want to look at. Here we go. Banger has to flash away. Might be in trouble here trying to turn back on Chihuahua. They've got the collapse coming through. He's got a blast going to potentially get to safety. Nice taunt from Mad G. He's going to keep him alive as he comes over the wall. He gets the knockup as well, but Vortex flashing forward.
So
Wants to finish it off. It's the first blood onto the Monkey King. It will be traded back as the mid laner from Elysium will fall as well. Matt is going to follow in his footsteps, but now E-Girl's got some resets and they're into the fray. They're going to find one. Vortex and Chase are still trying to fight this one out as it turns into a 2v2 between the bot laners. E-Girl, you got to be careful, my man. He's flashing away. He's jumping away. He's going to find some safety as TPs come back to the mid lane. Ahop on the run. He might have a Q soon to try and find some safety here, but limping away. The threat of Matt G is going to be enough, but wait, there might be more here. Grand Canyon.
I don't think so.
Okay, they're gonna finally back away. It ends up being a 3-for-2 in the favor of the WorryBrothers.
We'll say for Pink Cheaters, this is an even bigger win now, also because the Kindred is getting the mark on the top side. So
True.
Already stacking your mark, I think she got a passive assist as well. So already 2 marks potentially.
Yep.
And then also the play, oh Magi. Yes, Flash.
Nice W. There was a good amount of buff onto the Galio W there, the Shield of Durand, getting some extra resistances.
I think they want to fight.
And yeah, Banger's here. They need to wait on the cooldown from the Galio, and not quite going to have it up in time.
Not gonna be a fight once again, but this game, even though it didn't have a level 1 death, it's still as chaotic as the previous one. They started to fight as soon as they can. They forced the red buff invade. I honestly like the idea from Banger, but because they were getting the push, the weird thing is that nobody really came first from the side of Pink Cheaters. It was first move from the side of Elysium. You would think that's the normal occurrence, but with the pushes, it should have been an easy collapse from the side of Pink Cheaters. So I'm surprised it took so long for them to arrive there. And they still won, which is the weird part.
Yeah, I think Banger did such a good job of buying time for the team to collapse. Right now, though, we're seeing Chihuahua invest some time onto the bot lane. Meanwhile, Banger has taken the opportunity to walk into the top side, get his 3rd mark of the game, so 1 away from that first and oh so important level up on the Kindred passive. It is going to cost them a dragon on the other side, so Chihuahua with the investment in the bot lane is at least going to get an Ocean Dragon for his efforts.
Good start. Getting that early first dragon can really try and just become the early soul for the side of Elysium. We didn't see the soul in the previous game getting collected, so maybe this is going to be the game that we actually get to see the soul. But both teams have been doing a really good job at round objectives. I like how they approach it, how they try to force it, and how it's worked out for them every time.
That is going to be a nice dragon pickup on the side of Vortex and the rest of Elysium Frost. Mid lane potential gank coming in here, but Grand Canyon, he's got the dash. Gets away from any sort of CC lockdown that we might have seen coming out of Matt G. And that investment from Chihuahua into the dragon really didn't cost that much. He's down just one camp, at least so far.
For the Kindred, it's a good thing that she's been just keeping herself up like that in form. I think for Chihuahua as well, not necessarily a bad thing that you're just one camp behind the Kindred, because particularly Kindred is supposed to be a much better farmer than the Wukong. So, ooh, Souther. There's a lot of damage actually.
Souther's got the oranges though, to keep him alive for now. Ahop on the bot side though, he doesn't land the hook, but he does get onto the wall, so that's going to be close enough for them to go for a potential all-in here. The
sure about that.
Dropped on their head as well, but yeah, just not a lot of damage. Chaser doing a good job to soak a lot of that with that shield. And they even get some poke damage back on the other side from Vortex. TDS, one thing we should mention, since we talked about it so much in draft, is Vortex opting for what looks like to be the attack speed Varus in this game.
Actually, I was looking at it as well, and both the runes should have told what it was going to be the approach, but now we have a little bit more confirmation with that Vampiric Scepter. It's going to be the attack speed Varus. Not against it, because we did say that for late game fights and for team fighting particularly, probably the better approach to try and be able to fight in the later stages to what Bing Chillers has. But it's also going to take a little bit of the early game pressure compared to the poke Varus. Probably could have had a lot more damage early on, but it's not a bad choice. It's just like, what sort of style you want to play with your team.
Yeah, the Varus might have given Elysium Frost a winning lane, at least, because so far they're kind of losing in all three lanes. Kill switch, I mean, he's playing the Zac, he's scaling up, he's able to trade effectively, but he is behind about 10 or so CS. But Chihuahua might look to remedy that problem. Is here in the top side, but not level 6, doesn't have Cyclone available. I don't know how easy that gank is to pull off without that.
I'm surprised that there was no like aggressive attempt into going in, because they don't really have vision that the Wukong was up there. They do know that Banger is here, so probably going to dissuade any potential dive from happening or any potential gank from happening. But it's like, I feel like that should be an approach to go in. Souther was taking so much damage from the stack, and then he doesn't even have ultimate either. He used it on the bot side, so it could have been a prime opportunity to go for an engage.
Not going to find it that time. You never know. Banger might have been able to be in the area to get there in time to kind of change how that fight did turn out. But yeah, Kill Switch seems to be confident to go for these trades. He's picking up a lot of those blobs, getting some heals back after the trade does happen, and is kind of just winning in the war of attrition, it does seem like, in the top side here. Just not netting him a whole lot of a lead just yet. Mid lane, though.
Fight for the cannons.
Okay, Matchy lands a taunt, but Banger not able to go for that. But Aller might have baited him back in. Got action in both the solo lanes here. Grand Canyon actually has to burn the flash to get away from that Justice Punch.
It's still really hard to be able to pull it off. Like, Sylas has a lot of mobility. Even if the flash is blown, it's still a kill that is going to be hard to get in the future. I'm surprised the amount of attention that the mid lane has gotten. Not necessarily because it's bad, especially I think has one of the easiest setups to try and get done with the Kindred, since there's not many instances of CC on the side of Pink Chillers. But I was expecting more attention to bot side. Oh, Eager.
Some of that right now. Cyclone is in Eagle. Does have that Buster shot. Now the second half of the Cyclone, but now they're going to get pulled back in under tower. Gangplank ultimate and Maokai ultimate going to be expended. Not going to be enough to take anyone down. Just a trade of some ultimates there. Flash from Chihuahua, really the biggest cooldown used in that engagement.
But again, Souther completely aware of the situation, ready to press the trigger on the ultimate. Even though it doesn't net them a kill, it's still good to see that he's ready to provide support to any play on the other side of the map. And Eager and Ahop had a really good reaction to how the gank happened. For Tristana, it's really easy to evade it, but the re-engage as soon as they are in a really good spot once again was really, really well done.
And now they've got Banger in the area, trying to protect them as they pick up some of this under tower. This could
There's
be
no
a
Barrel's
really
ulti.
gank angle. Ahop's ready to go. Yeah, the shield is going to eat the hook, but Vortex might be in trouble anyways. Banger's ready to go. The flashes are coming forward. Vortex is going to flash himself.
Ooh, one more.
Might not be enough to keep him safe. Maybe it is actually somehow able to escape that one, but now we've got some trading here in the mid lane. or at least in the bot side river. Matt G trying to buy time for the rest of his team to roam up to this fight. Dragon's going to get started off and with an HP advantage on the side of the Bing Chillers. They're confident that they can secure this objective, and I think they might be right. Canyon, though, kind of wants to go for something.
They have the ward on the side, so they know how they're approaching this, but yeah, I feel like you give it up. You already have the first dragon, so it's not like you need to commit to get this second dragon as well. The fight in the bot lane was really close.
Outer.
Wait,
oh,
there's a lot of
that's
damage
not a
there.
very good flash. He takes the tower shot anyways. Kill switch is going to get some revenge after game number 1.
Sir, how the hell does the Zac do that much damage to a GP? Like, he has just a Bambi Cinder and a Dark Seal. That's it. That's his damage.
Zac is a balanced champion, man. I don't know. You can play him mid lane, you can play him top lane, you can play him jungle, and build
even
tank.
support.
Still do the DPS. True. Yeah, I actually love Zac support. That is so fun. But
Oh,
yeah,
you're one of those
nice bolo. Hey, I don't play it myself. I'm just an enjoyer, okay? But Chihuahua is a mid lane gank enjoyer. He's got the knock up onto Matt G, but he's going to be able to flash out of his own ult.
Oh, he gets it?
Rolling away, and now Banger's here. Oh, that's another stack into Banger's pockets, and he was the difference maker in game number 1, trying to do so in this game number 2 as well, and he is not afraid of the engage here from Canyon and Chaser. Just stands his ground and chases him off.
Yeah, but they already make the deed happen. They killed the Wukong, they got the sack onto the Kindred, like you were saying. Not sure how many stacks does Banger have right now. I think 3 or 4?
5 now, actually.
5 stacks, actually. That is such a good uptime on your marks as the Kindred. And then also getting 2 plates here in the mid lane. Doing such a good job at keeping yourself up in tempo, up in gold, up in favor as the Kindred is such a good thing for Banger.
And now they're just going to get even more. Banger's going to find another one. Chaser. He's gone a little bit too deep. Didn't realize A-Hop was in the area. And Bing Chillers will find a punish. Yeah, speaking of the gold that Banger has been able to accrue in this game, he's currently the gold leader. He is almost 1,000 gold above Chihuahua on the other side.
Plate.
So now it's officially 1,000 gold. This is a massive jungle lead. Just 15, well, not even 15 minutes in.
Close to 15, but not just yet, and the lead for Banger is so important because even though we see that E-Girl and A-Hop didn't really make a lot happen both sides, they are still getting the plates down there. They are getting the gold. They are denying Vortex to a certain degree. And then mid lane, Magi is doing a really amazing job when you really look at the difference in CS. He's ahead of Grand Canyon, but he's still allowing and supporting Banger when he wants to go for moves. So the team situation for Bing Chillers is that much better than what Elysium is able to accomplish, even though there haven't been many instances for them to be able to do.
Yeah, and even in the top side, Souter has been quietly scaling up on the gangplank. Yeah, unfortunately, did die to the unexpected burst of the Zac up there, but is up CS, has an Essence Reaver already, and you talked about how he's so aware with these gangplank ultimates. That shows that he understands his role in this game, but top mid lane, Matt G is under fire here. OP kill switch is in. They've got the Cyclone out from Chihuahua as well. Really nice slams respite out of Banger, making sure that that burst damage wasn't going to finish him off. And now low health bars on either side. Grand Canyon still trying to go forward, but Matt G, he is ready to go forward himself. Grand Canyon going to try to finish off, but no, the chains go wide. Now, that's the stolen Kindred ultimate going to come down on the other side, keeping everyone alive. Here comes the Galio ultimate on top. It's actually the Kindred first to fall. It's big shutdown into the pockets of Chihuahua, but now he will fall himself. Grand Canyon going to try and find an exit in the form of a chain over the wall, but will trade his kill 2 for 2. But A-Hop, he's not done. He's going to find a hook. Going to find some damage. He's got his mid laner here as well. It's a nice Everfrost onto 2. But Chaser's going to go golden for a moment. Will that be enough to keep him alive?
Oh, the shield again.
The shield to deny some damage, and it's going to be the enemy support going down. No, both supports going down. 3v3 in the mid lane. Matt G trying to maybe make that a 4v3 in their in favor of them. But wow, that is just absolute chaos here.
It really is. Oh, maybe E-Girl here. Okay, nothing ends up happening there, but the fight is really, really chaotic. They did get the shutdown onto Banger, which is a really big value to get off of the side of Bing Chillers. Still, Banger is still in a really good spot even with that.
He'll switch still once more in the mid lane.
There's Matt 3 members here again.
As the Aftershock, they've got the Cannon Barrage as well from Souter. He's going to be able to get away.
And even though at the end no kills end up happening, you really can see what right now is making the game be still close enough for the side of Elysium. Is this Zac in the top lane kill switch doing so much in those fights. Actually, so much value from the sack. And then the shield from Chaser. I won't even say the whole Brown champion. It's more so just the shield. The shield value is so immense to deny Banger from getting a lot of damage, from deny Souter getting a lot of damage. So it's really what the shield can accomplish and what Killswitch on the sack can accomplish.
And so far, that's been 3 kills. He's been able to influence a lot of these plays, but the gold lead is still well and firmly in the favor of the big chillers. And TDS, you talked about how they have the scaling advantage in this game. We're going to see a dragon started up here. We're going to see the side of Elysium Frost trying to get a couple more dragons under their belt and accelerate this game state. But yeah, potentially a collapse from Banger. He looks like maybe he wants to go over the wall for a steal.
I don't think they can, though.
Yeah.
Because Solder is top lane. So it's just really hard for them to actually force a fight in that situation.
They let the dragon go over. It's 2-1 now in dragon score, but again, gold lead is almost 5,000 gold TDS. So if you're an Elysium Frost in this situation, you have a strong Zac. You know, you have some scaling power in the form of Vortex on this Varus. What's kind of your goals for the next couple of minutes, and even leading up to this next dragon?
Well, if you're on the side of Elysium, you kind of want to get the next Herald, not necessarily because it will be the biggest difference maker, but wait, Chaser.
That's not a bush you want to be face checking, my friend. Banger has so much
damage.
Wait, it's actually just a bait. Banger's got the Lamb's Respite, but he's in the middle of 4. I don't think there's any way out of this one for the Kindred. It's another kill over to Chihuahua, and Elysium Frost starting to claw their way back into this game.
They are doing a really good job at punishing Banger for over-aggression there. There was no reason, like, there's really no reason at all for Banger to go for that. You don't know where the enemy team is, you know that your top laner is just coming off of base, you know that your support is not close, whereas you know that Chaser is there. And probably they are doing Herald, so it's just a weird decision overall from Banger. He gets collapsed, he gets punished, great kill. And once again, that may have been a different situation if Chaser's shield is not that much value, but the shield just denies so much damage. Maybe a burst potential from Banger gets completely denied there, and if they do kill Chaser quick enough, then it doesn't really matter. But since the shield is just so massive, you don't get that opportunity at all.
Yeah, you could kind of see that like going through Banger's head as the Braum is walking towards the bush. He's like, do I leave? Do I stay? Can I one-hit him? Do I have the damage? And he decides, all right, I'll try for it. And yeah, just not expecting
and the answer is no.
the answer from Chaser, who just puts up the shield and says, I have a team in the area, man. This is not a fight that you want to be taking. And yeah, Banger now 2-3-2, has died a couple of times in the last couple of minutes. Still is scaling up well on this Kindred, right? Still has a lot of those procs, but now top side. Souter, he wants some revenge after some early game aggression out of Killswitch. Don't overstay your welcome here, though. Does spot out Chihuahua, he'll be able to get out.
Good choice. Still blew the flash off of Killswitch, so we're now seeing that the Gangplank can not only fight against this Zac, but can win. It's just how you approach it, but that's the important thing for the side of Pink Cheaters, is that they don't fall for the trap of wanting to fight for the sake of fighting. Banger, just as I was saying that.
That's the damage.
Gets a kill here.
That's the damage he was expecting on the Braum.
Yeah, on Chaser.
Doesn't have a way to avoid some of that burst coming through from Banger, but Chaser here again going to walk into him. Not a ton of cooldowns available though, so just going to be able to get away out of that one. But it feels like with this Gangplank starting to take advantage of this top lane matchup, OP Killswitch is going to have to play much more for team fighting, much more for the 5 versus 5s. And with this dragon spawning in 2 minutes, do you think Elysium have what it takes to contest this next dragon?
I'm not sure. Like, I think this is probably one of the strongest points that they will have in terms of their general champions. Maybe not much the Varus, since Varus will still keep getting stronger. But the other champions, this is one of their strongest points. Like, you have an item completed already, a mythic on the Wukong, a mythic on the Sylas that, yes, it's not fully stacked, but it's still the mythic completed and his damage already down. You have the sack with the Sunfire Cape, and then close to get another tanky item. So I feel like this is the best opportunity for them to try and force a fight. If they win it, like, they secure themselves at least for another 5 minutes in the game, in a spot where they can try and pressure for other objectives, like the Baron or maybe another couple of turrets. But if they don't opt into the fight and they give more time for the side of Being Cheaters to scale, because if the dragon is obtained by Being Cheaters, they just gain 4 more minutes to scale into this game. It's not the best for them either, because they don't want to go into late game.
Well, one thing that I'm kind of realizing now, TDS, is this This composition from the Bing Chillers is relatively one-dimensional in terms of damage type. They've got Gangplank, Kindred, and Tristana as their carries. It's mainly AD. Yes, okay, Matt is buying a little bit of AP. He's got the Everfrost, he's got the Morello. He's not going for, you know, like a full tank Galio type of strategy, but does that matter when it comes to some of these 5v5 fights that we're going to be seeing later on? Like, if they can buy that extra 5 minutes, does that extra armor that maybe they can get make a difference in those fights?
If it were other champion, better said, if it were other kind of champions on the side of Bing Chillers, I would be. But it's 280 carries and a Gangplank. That makes it a little bit much easier for them to be able to penetrate the armor, because you have range on the two, and then the barrels that don't necessarily need to hit the tank but can hit the backline in the process as well. And a lot of that is crit based damage, so even if you itemize against it, it's really hard to stop a lot of that damage.
Switch trying to find an engage on the banger.
Chihuahua
to be able to find the elastic slingshot, and now Ahab is looking for an engage of his own. Matt G's into the fray as well. They've got the cannon barrage on top of everything.
That.
A 3-man taunt.
That's what I was talking about.
Killswitch is in the backline, but the rest of his team is just absolutely eviscerated. And yeah, you talk about the AD damage. That was a heck of a lot of it right there. It's going to be a clean 5-0. It's going to be Bing Chillers picking up their second dragon of the game and extending this gold lead to 10,000 gold just about right here.
At 22 minutes.
Yeah.
22 minutes in the game, already 10,000 gold. It's going to be another dragon. They could potentially go for Baron if they really want to. It was a 5 for nothing. So every member could really just decide, yeah, let's go for Baron and try and get it stronger. But that's what we were talking about in terms of the armor value and the tankiness, right? Yes, in other comps, I would agree. Especially there was a perfect example of that in the NACL with a 5 AD comp against a Sion. But the difference is that it was, I think, it was Wukong, I think Jace as well, or something like that, with Yone and another 80 carry. In this instance, you have 280 carries that are really good late game scaling, and a Gangplank. Like, those are not champions that you care that much, even if you get into the late game, because they can penetrate armor and damage everyone really easily. Ooh, Machi.
Caught out here. But he does have
I think he survives this.
Louder, yeah. I think that TP is enough to keep him alive. Glacial Fissure from Chaser to buy some time. Now a teleport on the other side. Killswitch wants to try and join the fray. Souter's in the middle. He's just
no,
sacrificed his life. Oh, what? He trades onto the Braum. Meanwhile, Matt G says, all right, I'm out of here. TP's back to base. They'll take the 1-for-1 trade. Mid lane, though, Vortex might be able to knock down a tower. Nope. Not going to be able to do so on this wave.
They may actually
He's
engage
got careful.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. Stolen Galley ultimate. Coming in from Grand Canyon, but the flash from Vortex will get him to safety. Now we might see a fight here in the mid lane. The engage on the banger. They've got the ultimate themselves, though. Now it's going to be the real Galio coming in. And Canyon is just dead. Matt G is on a rampage. E-Girl's going to get it as well, and they are just going to wipe the floor with Elysium Frost. They find 4. It's a triple kill for E-Girl, and they are into the base. 30-second death timers TDS. This might be the series right here. I don't know if they can go for the win.
Can they? They have the bomb to kill Destroyer. I don't think they can. The minion wave is too small, and then even though they do have 280 carries, I don't think they have the damage. Probably the safer play is to go for the Baron and just try and get the win in the next 3 minutes. That's completely fine. You can have enough time to win this game out. Like we've seen so far, even if it goes longer, their composition will be able to win.
Yep, no reason to go for any risky plays. No reason to get ahead of themselves too much there. The Baron's on the map. The Baron's going to be free. And like you say, the gold lead is just absolutely monstrous at this point. We thought for a moment, like there was a few situations where it felt like Elysium Frost were trying to find their footing. They were starting to find a way back into the game. But now it's just lost. Like it is so doomed now.
They were illusions. It was like when you're in the desert and you're able to see like that illusion that's just calling to you and seems like it's all positive and all great, and then you realize it's actually just still sand and you're still in a desert and you're about to die. That's legitimately what happened there with Elysium.
Just a mirage, yeah.
It's just a mirage, and it's a mirage that now has a Baron buff and too many items to count at this point. Even the GP has, like, I was about to make the joke. What do you feel is worse? The fact that GP trades on you, or the fact that Matt G just watches as his GP dies and TPs away?
Yeah, I don't know.
But it was his fault, by the way.
I feel like the comms had to be like, as soon as the TP was coming in from Elysium there, it's like Matt G's like, I'm out of here, man. Like, good luck, buddy. Thanks for
It's on
TPing in
you.
to save me. Like, I'll see you later. But Souter actually might be in trouble
I
himself
think
top
Southern
side here.
Vortex.
I think he might.
Okay,
Ooh,
no.
It's very close. Trade, not quite going to get the trade kill, but are you going to get the trade tower down here? Banger has Matt G in his back pocket as a bodyguard, and Chaser, he is just getting absolutely bursted down. Has to use the ultimate to find some peel. 2 versus 3, but Banger and Matt G are not afraid of Elysium Frost in this situation. They've got their bot lane roaming towards them. They're going to try and put the finishing touches onto this bot lane inhibitor, but now here comes the engage from the other side. OP kill switch is in. They're finding a lot of damage onto Matt, but Banger and E-Girl, the important ones, are not alive, are not dead. They're still alive in this fight. Now E-Girl's going forward. It's a triple kill for Banger. Can we see more? There's still 2 alive, but E-Girl, he'll take the quadra. He's going to continue chasing Chaser into the base. This is just going to be the game TDS. Can he kill him in the fountain? Okay, shut down gold for Vortex. Chaser's going to say, thank you very much. We will take that gold. But that is just a consolation prize. This is going to be a 2-0 victory for the Bing Chillers. And they're going to take possession of second place here. 2 30-minute games, 2 convincing victories. I, for one, am convinced that Bing Chillers are the second best team here in the CCS Novice League.
I want to give the benefit of the doubt just because of the top lane situation, but overall, it really felt like Bing Chillers played it out really, really well. Like, not saying that it's the sole reason why it happened, right? Like, it's still important, but not to be able to say that Bing Chillers played that out really, really well. Both games had really straightforward ways to play the game. They had carries in top lane with different ways to play the game, but the idea was to carry top lane. But overall, I think that the one that you have to focus on, it's Banger. His early games and the way that he played in the jungle was really, really, really well done. Both games, amazing performance by the jungler, and I think that it's going to be a really scary player to look out for in the going forward in the season and then into playoffs, because right now the meta does benefit carry junglers much more so than before.
Absolutely, and Banger putting it on display here today. I thought his game 1 performance maybe a little bit better than the game 2. I thought he made a couple small mistakes on the Kindred, but overall performing exceptionally well. For me, I think Matt G was maybe the MVP of this game number 2. He was very effective on the Galio, was kind of the reason that Banger was able to do so much, I felt like, through a lot of the early game with some of those rotations. But overall, yeah, I think the entire team from Bing Chillers felt like they had a really good idea of how they wanted to play the game through the carry jungler, because that's not an easy way to play, right? Like, if you have someone who's playing a carry jungler and you don't have the laners that understand how to back him up, how to support him in some of those plays, it can fall apart very, very quickly. But they're showing here in both of these 2 games, they understand how to play that. And with Banger being so proficient on those carry junglers, I mean, there's no reason to stop.
Yeah, I would even say the biggest mistake I remember in this game is that, and it's not even a mistake, it's more so like maybe a little bit late, it's that first invade that they did where they stole the red buff, but they also traded a couple of kills here and there. If it was better played out between each other, they probably just get out of that scot-free and they win the game even more heavily out of that play, because they had the push, they had the jungler invading, and they had the potential to rotate first. So it was weird that it didn't work out in that way. They still won it, so I won't call it out as a really bad play, but it's those things that were ready to respond that should have worked out that way, that I really think that can set up this team for success in the future. And if they correct those things, it can really look scary when you have Banger playing to such a level.
Absolutely true. Yeah, putting on a show here are the Bing Chillers, and you're absolutely right. Like, for Elysium Frost, it sucks that they go up against such a formidable opponent this week when they don't have their main top laner, they don't have their full roster in terms of having their five-man squad. And that's not to say that Killswitch was at all the reason they lost this series. I thought he was actually a very good performing member, specifically in this game number 2 on the Zac, but you just don't have the same synergy. You don't have the same 5 members. You don't have the same voices necessarily making the same calls and stuff like that. But yeah, I think that's going to do it for us here today. Big congratulations to the Bing Chillers securing that spot at second in the standings. And TDS, you talked about it, right? Those first 2 spots are playoff buys for the first round. They are very, very important seeds to be getting.
Exactly. It's going to be an interesting race at the end, if you want to call it like that. Like, there's still a chance anyone can slip up. We don't know. But if it ends up being like this, being able to secure those 2 is still important. So I'm excited to see how it ends up going. If it's both Pink Chillers and Optimal that end up getting those two first seeds, it's going to be fun. If someone slips up, it's still going to be fun because that means that playoffs are going to be even spicier because one
Absolutely.
team is going to be looking really, really strong and it's not going to get that bye.
Yep. Very, very true. I think there's still plenty of teams that can make a push for those top 2 spots. There is still 3 weeks of play, and we're going to be back next week for week number 7. So make sure you don't miss that. TDS, it's been a pleasure casting with you here once again today. For everyone who watched, thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Make sure you do tune in tomorrow. CCS Advanced League action will be taking place same time, same place, right here on the CCS Twitch. And until next time, we'll see y'all next week. Have a good one.